Well, it is 6:44 this Friday. Today is May 1st, and that was originally the date that Ohio would start to lift the stay-at-home order, but the governor says that he is extending it. However, remember how he laid out those restrictions that some of them would be easing today? They're still happening. So we do want to talk about some of the things you can and can't do, especially for those who are set to go back to work as early as next week. So we do want to introduce attorney Dave Betras for Legally Speaking to give us some clarification. It all seems so confusing, but Dave, that's where you come into play, and we're so happy to have you. Good morning.
Yeah, so I'm just reading it. It's breaking. So I think what it's saying is, I got a piece of Dunkin' Donuts in my teeth, Krista Lamandola, because I've not been able to bring in your bagels. It looks like the order has been extended to May 29th, with the exceptions of the businesses that are opening. I haven't had a chance to fully digest it.
But DeWine did already announce those days. So some of the big ones that we do know about that are sticking true today, like elective surgery start up today. And then Monday, we know manufacturing companies can go back to work. So my big question, Dave, is for those folks who are going back to work, what kind of things do they have to do in order to open up and to be functioning while people are still worried about the coronavirus?
Well, there's a lot. It's a little confusing because it's an evolving situation. I could tell you what we're doing at our office, and those are the guidelines. Face coverings are not mandatory, but businesses can require them. In other words, the government can't require them, but a business can require it. So we have our office is never closed, and we have followed all their protocols. And so far, knock on wood, no one here has been stricken with the virus. So we keep our doors open so less areas have to be touched. But now we're going to start seeing clients again in the office. For you to come into the office, we have a bottle of hand sanitizer. So when you first walk in, you'll have to have sanitizer on. You'll get your temperature taken. And you're going to be asked to wear a face mask. And we have designated 3 conference rooms to see clients in so we can socially distance from them.
Dave, one of the big
I'm just telling, go ahead.
I said one of the big questions that people had if they are going back to work, if an employee, their job says, yep, we're opening back up, we need you to come in, and an employee is not comfortable with what's happening or they see some violations, do they have to go back to work or can they stay on unemployment?
They probably can stay on unemployment, but they can't sue to get their job back. I mean, that's the status of the law right now. I think the Ohio Department of Jobs and Family Services will probably grant an exception for someone who fails to go back to work because they might be I can't pronounce it. Immunocompromised. Is that how you say it?
Immunocompromised. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Or they have a pre-existing condition, or they're over the certain age. So I think if those people aren't going into work, I think now it's not settled in the law. Like if your business is open and you voluntarily don't work, then you've not been fired and you can't get unemployment. But I think they're going to make an exception for this. I really do. You cannot, as the law sits right now, you cannot sue to get your job back. I think that's going to change. I think that this is the type where the Supreme Court might carve out an exception saying you can't fire someone because they got the coronavirus, a pandemic. But, the law always lags behind, Krista Lamandola, behind what's going on in the ground. We're like the dishwashers in the restaurant. As everyone's really busy and fluttering about, as everything, goes through the system, we're the last ones dealing with it, trying to figure out who had what rights and everything else. What I've seen a lot, and for small businesses out there, a lot of them have business interruption insurance, and a lot of them are being denied. Don't take that denial letter. We have figured out some theories to get around what they call this physical damage requirement that's in almost every business interruption insurance. And just because your agent says you don't have business interruption insurance, he doesn't work for you. He works off a commission. He works for the company. So you'll want to look at your policies. That litigation is exploding all over the country. because these people that bought business interruption insurance, every company is denying it on a ground of called no physical damage to the property. We think that a virus is physical damage to the property. You just can't see it. So you have that going out there. It is, look, this is all evolving, and everyone's very confused, and everyone's very worried and very anxious, and money is so bad for people. I mean, our business is even suffering because people don't have money to hire consumer lawyers. You know, even bigger firms are laying off people, and so it's affecting everyone equally. Now, I know that doesn't give anyone comfort that it's affecting everyone equally, but we'll get over this. America's always gotten over this. I read the Great Influenza of 1919 and how many millions of Americans were killed. But we got out of that. And every time this country has faced an existential threat that we have gotten over, booming times have always roared. And so I want to give people hope, because if you remember World War II, we didn't know whether we'd be speaking Japanese or German, right? But we won that war, and we didn't know we were going to win that war. And yet you had the largest explosion of wealth in the history of the world right after World War II. So I think that once we come out the other end of this, things are going to be much better. We're going to go through a lot of pain in the meantime. That's just the way it's going to be.
Hey, Dave, I'm so sorry.
Governor John, go ahead. I'm sorry.
We're out of time. God bless you. Thank you so much for joining us.
I could talk about this for hours.
I know you could.
But talking to you because I miss you, Krista Lemon.
We miss you too.
Monday, don't forget.
Yes. Give us the news, Dave. What's happening Monday?
Monday, we're going to do the call-in right here from my desk from Betras, Kopp, and Harshman Central. I'll be taking your calls. And we're going to do it on Facebook, too. I think we have something worked out on Facebook, so I can do Facebook while I'm off the air. Isn't that right, Krista?
Yes, but we are out of time, Dave. Thank you so much.
Goodbye.
Bye. Free legal advice coming up Monday. Put in your questions if you missed anything today, and then stick around. We have more coming up.